3 years ago now, Lucci, we had this skydiving collision, and through no one's fault but my own, I took Lucci out skydiving, and or at the time I thought Lucci had lost his life from the incident. So that was pretty hard, and I did a lot of damage to my knee. I just have this very minor disability, and as minor as it is, I struggled with it big time. Once I started coming out of this state of depression, I guess, I had this urge to help other people.
Surviving a life-threatening accident can change everything, from how you see the world to how you live your life. In this episode, I sit down with Mark Lucari and Ben Lucock to discuss their road to recovery after a near-fatal skydiving collision that tested their physical and mental limits. Mark and Ben have an upcoming documentary called Impact that explores how the collision became a turning point in their lives, inspiring them to confront depression, challenge societal stigmas, find strength in imperfection, and redefine what happiness means. Welcome to Move Your Mind, where we uncover why you are holding yourself back from getting the life you want and what to do about it. With the help from high-achieving guests and experts in behavioural science, personal development, and the health and wellness space. Join us if you're ready to move out of your own way toward your ideal self. I'm your host, Nick Brax, and I've been working in the health and wellness space for the last 15 years, helping people find direction and gain the courage to take control of their life. My mission is simple: to help you learn everything that I wish I knew, so you can become your ideal self. Lacking guidance, I spent the majority of my youth feeling lost and disempowered, which led to depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and substance abuse. Looking back, I didn't have the vocabulary to communicate what I was experiencing. And as a man, I didn't resonate with the emotional language used in traditional therapy. I didn't need to talk about my feelings. I needed tangible solutions to guide me toward building a life I was proud of. If you can relate, then this podcast is for you. In this episode, we discuss how to embrace imperfection and redefine happiness. If you're ready to take action and build a stronger mindset, then keep listening. Well, Ben Lucci, thank you so much for making the time to come on the podcast.
Mate, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us, mate.
Appreciate it. And, I love what you guys are doing. And, Lucci, we're having a chat, like I was saying just before the other night. And I love meeting people that on a similar sort of journey, getting, a similar message out there. And I think in this space, the more we can all come together, to get that word out, the better, because it's just we can't do enough in this area.
Yeah, 100%. And that was a big thing of why me and Benny pursued this. And we had this event that happened, and I've personally been in this space for quite a while, and one of the main factors for me speaking out about it was that I thought that we weren't meant to, and no one talks about it, and I thought I was alone for a long time there. And then when I actually started speaking out and about depression and mental health, and so many people reached back out to me, I was just like, whoa, like there's a lot of people struggling, and why aren't we talking about this? And that's one of the best things that come out of this is the people we're meeting and the conversations that are starting. It's been incredible. Hey, Benny, it's been a
100%. Yeah, it's been really good, and it's been a huge eye opener, particularly for me. I've been a paramedic now for 13 years, and a lot of what we do is mental health. And, I kind of thought I had a pretty reasonable understanding of it, like dealing with it. But going through it myself and opening up to a lot of my friends and just like friendly chats with Lucci and Paddy has totally changed my perception on it, and for a good reason. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I think as men, it's talked about more. And I got into, mental health awareness work about 15 years ago. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of talk about it. But even now, with all the awareness, you sort of see when you peel behind. You don't have to peel that far behind. If I go into a company, you're talking to a friend, wherever you are, you'll say, men still feel a lot of stigma. You know, they don't feel comfortable often opening up in front of their mates or whatever it is, because if we haven't created that culture, then there's fear that we won't be seen as a man, or we'll be judged, or we'll be seen as weak, or whatever it is. And you really, you know, like you guys are talking about there, you start to really see firsthand how huge of an issue it still is when you start talking about it yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I think I was saying to you, Nick, was like, I was, kind of an athlete for a while there, and I was a fighter, and you'd put a post up of winning a fight, and knocking someone out or whatever it is, and you get a lot of people commenting and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I put a post up about actually being real and talking about mental, something, being depressed or whatever it was, and all these people reached out and come back to me. I was like, holy crap! Now this is what really resonates with people, and this is what it is so many. It's affecting so many men silently. So yeah, it's good. Like I said, it's good. This is starting conversations, meeting incredible humans, and yeah, getting rid of that stigma that it ain't weak to speak. Yeah,
100%, 100%. So I might ask, I don't know who wants to go first. Maybe Lucci, you can go first. But if you guys can give our listeners a background on yourselves and what you've been through and what you're doing, and obviously the documentary, how that all came about, because it's a pretty incredible story.
Yeah, well, look, I might even throw this over to you, Benny. You can start off,
All right,
mate.
Benny, you can go first.
Benny,
Okay.
kick it off. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I'm Australian, living on the east coast of Australia, and like I said, I've been a paramedic now for 13 years, a couple of weeks, and just throughout my life, I've always just been a sporting enthusiast. I've never been a competitive person in terms of competition, but always been very competitive with myself and my peers. Just moving through all different sports, from surfing, riding motorbikes, skydiving, base jumping, freediving. I just loved everything. And then, 3 years ago now, Lucci, we had this skydiving collision. And through no one's fault but my own, I took Lucci out skydiving. And, at the time, I thought Lucci had lost his life from the incident. So that was pretty hard. And I did a lot of damage to my knee. And, in terms of reference to a lot of other accidents that have been out there, it's pretty minor. But in another degree, like, I just have this a very minor disability. And as minor as it is, I struggled with it big time. Like, I really, I viewed myself as a bit of a resilient person, and, just your average Aussie. And I just totally crumbled under the pressure of rehab and trying to live with this changed life and this essentially loss of identity that I didn't even realize I possessed. But then it was once I started coming out of this, state of depression, I guess, I had this urge to help other people. And once I started talking to other people, I realized friends and strangers had been down a similar path. And I was like, really, I just want to kind of open up, be super honest about it. Probably borderline a bit too open in some scenarios, but just kind of share it with and create that almost that safety in numbers kind of sensation, where people are like, oh, okay, Ben experienced this, I've experienced that, or I am experiencing that. And it's normal to a degree, like, I guess we can't just live our life in fear trying to avoid depression. But if we end up there, there's light at the end of the tunnel, basically. And that's what we're trying to share.
I love that. Really well put, mate. And you can't be too open. I think it takes so much courage. I think it's amazing you're doing that, and I think it's interesting, what you're saying there, with the knee injury and these and the guilt you felt for something that was really not your fault. We all make mistakes. These are things that happen, but we also have that thing as men where we feel like we're invincible and we nothing can sort of take us down. And I know for me, if I think about on the physical side of things, when I've had issues in that area, it's really difficult because we you know, we don't want to be stopped. We want to be out there, you know, doing all of these exciting things for forever. Um, so again, it's just being able to, you know, get that message out there. So, you know, really appreciate you sharing that. And I think it's, you know, amazing that you're out there doing that. Lucci, I might get you to, you know, share your story and, you know, how it all came about.
Yeah. Well, mate, I'm a Gold Coast boy, and yeah, you know, I grew up on the Goldie, playing a lot of different sports as well. Same as Benny, you know, surfing and a lot of similar sports actually. Me and Benny, it's yeah, it's funny that, but yeah, you know, look, my life was affected at a really young age. My dad committed suicide, and it was like the literally shaped who I am to this day. At first, it was bad. You know, when I was a young man, you know, young teenager, I had a lot of anger and a lot of aggression and blaming, I guess, blaming him on what, you know, and everything, you know, blaming the world on what was going on with me, and um, not holding any accountability to probably that I was putting myself in these situations and getting in a lot of trouble. And it wasn't until I learned to forgive him for what, you know, what happened, like, you know, and put my, you know, yeah, forgive him. I had a child very young, you know, and like I said, it literally shaped me to who I am this day. I would never change a thing, you know, even though like that's all I've ever wanted and all most boys ever want is a dad, you know, and but I'd still never change a thing because it's made me who I am. It's given me the strength to be who I am, and let me go through those dark times as well of, you know, getting in trouble, being a rat bag, and realizing that that wasn't me, and that wasn't the real me. But yeah, you know, and then it come a lot of life lessons that I've learned and traumatic things that have happened have, like I said, given me the strength to be the person I am, and you know, help other people. And this same thing as what Benny said, this accident kind of made me kind of sit back and think, you know, what is really important to me, what's going on, and you know, what am I doing with my life? You know, I'm lucky to be here, let's make the most of it. And one of those things as well was, you know, that I got the joy out of in life was giving back and helping out, and just helped me really push towards that, and speak out even more, and yeah, just try and make, excuse the pun, make our impact on the world.
I love that, mate. I love that. And you know, we are talking the other day when me and you were having a chat about how, you know, we have all of these different things happen that shape us, good, bad, and ugly. But you know, you exactly like you said, you wouldn't go and change it. You might do things differently in certain scenarios, but if we change one thing, that might lead to a whole lot of other things not happening. And we're some of all of these different things. And I think it's really important to remind yourself of that, because we can live in regret. We can, you know, develop a victim mentality. We can be, you know, and everyone to varying degrees goes through something. Some people, you know, are dealt a worse card, a worse hand than, you know, other people. But all we can do is, from where we're at right now, make the most of it and try and learn, you know, from what we've been through, and, you know, educate other people and ourselves, and try and, you know, use that to move forward. So I think it's a really important point for anyone listening. You know, when you're going through something, what can you learn from it? How can we become better? How can we help other people?
Yeah, exactly. And those things, those bad things that do happen, instead of using it as an excuse, use it as motivation to become better. You know, that's a lot of people do, play the victim, use it as an excuse, you know, and then you just never move forward. You know, if you use it as motivation, it can be such a powerful tool to, you know, to make your life and everyone around you's life's a lot better.
100%. 100%. Well, can you tell us a bit about the documentary? You know, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, Benny, you want to kick off, or?
Yeah, so basically, as you know, like a lot of people in sporting things these days, everyone's wearing GoPros.
Yeah.
And the skydive that me and Lucci had the incident on, there was 17 of us in the sky. So all on the same, you know, planned jump. So you essentially got 17 GoPros capturing, and a lot of them captured the actual incident.
Wow.
So we had all this footage, and you know, originally when I was laid up in hospital, I had a lot of media kind of trying to contact me, and everyone's like, "Oh, you know, you've got an opportunity to kind of sell some footage and maybe help pay for medical bills and blah blah blah." But I wasn't interested in any of that kind of stuff. It's not really my style. And it wasn't until it was probably 18 months or whatever after the accident that I was chatting to Lucci, and he had the friend Paddy. I'd heard of his company because they do some skydiving things, but I'd never met Paddy before. And Lucci was saying, like, I've been to these skydive events and I've been chatting to this guy Paddy, and he thinks we can maybe put something together just to create. I think originally it was going to be like a learning thing, just for safety for skydiving and stuff like that. And once we all three of us started chatting, I was like, look, I'm kind of coming out of this bout of depression. And that's when Lucci opened up about some stuff for himself, and Paddy as well mentioned some stuff that he's had troubles with. And I was like, look, is this an avenue that we can kind of draw people in with this entertainment, I suppose, because everyone likes a bit of carnage and a bit of story. But also have this background of this mental health, where we can kind of really try and resonate, and people can, relate to on all levels, not just an extreme sports level, just everyday life, whether you're trying to achieve career goals or social issues, all that kind of stuff, not necessarily trauma. And they can be like, oh yeah, that resonates with me. So, that entertainment factor as well as a bit of a journey for them. So, and that's where we kind of came up with the idea to create this, short film, and hopefully people like it.
Yeah, really well said, Benny. We didn't even know what we were we had no idea. Like Paddy had, like Benny said, was a skydive filmmaker. I think he'd done some wedding videos and some adverts and stuff like that. He's got, he's done a lot of stuff, but nothing like along the lines of a documentary. And we just kept putting it together and just kept evolving into what is now, an incredible story and journey, and really gets that message across. And it's really been well received. It's kind of won a lot of awards, around the globe. We put it through all the film festivals and it's been doing well there. Like I said, we had no idea. We were just like, just winging it, and still are.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, Paddy's done a great job. Hey, the guy's a bit of a wizard, just not just tech savvy, but just his vision and everything for it. Just, we watched it really come together. He's done a really good job.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons I kind of suggested Paddy too. Is not only has he been affected by mental health, suicide as well in his family. Is that how I met Paddy was at the skydiving events, and we have these events that are usually like 5 to 7 day long jumping events, and they all have a different vibe there and a different feeling. And he makes the day tape at the end of each day. So every time we do a jump during the day, there's hundreds of jumps done. Everyone hands in their footage, and then he makes a little day tape of that day each day, and it would always encapsulate the vibe of the event. And every day's vibe's different as well, and just you'd be watching the day tape, go, man, that's how I'm feeling. Like, what? How does he put that on screen? And that's why I said to Benny, I'm like, there's so much emotion in this story, and so many different emotions too. Like, from me being the person who got here, nearly dying, to Benny, like as he said, like causing an accident, like, and so the emotions that come with that. And I've said this from the very start of Benny, like I admire his bravery, his strength to come out and speak about this, because not many men would do that. Like, like it's hard enough to admit a mistake anyway, to admit a mistake in your peers, publicly in your peers and that. Like, so yeah, Benny, I've said it to you before, man, and I really do. I really, it nearly brings a tear to my eye every time I think about it. Like, that's strength, man. That's real men's strength right there. Because this is going to help people, and this is how this journey, happened. And yeah.
You're looking to make a change, to lose weight, to get toned, to gain self-confidence, all in just 24 minutes a day, then go no further. You can check out the Move Your Mind community by going to nickbrax.start.page.
Yeah, that's great. And that's the thing, it genuinely, I'm sure, is already helping so many people. And you never know, how many people it will help. Like, often there's people out there that you don't hear from that behind the scenes it's helped. And I've always found that even just going and doing a talk, you'll hear back a month later about someone who went and got help because of what they heard, or whatever it is. But it really does take a lot of strength to, talk about our struggles, the things that we've, that haven't gone our way, that we've failed at, whatever it is. And we live in a society that tries to teach us that we need to be perfect all the time, that we should have all the answers, that we shouldn't need help. And it's crazy. It's just like, that's not what being human's about. We're not meant to get things right all the time. As long as we're, doing our best and being a good person, then it's like, you can't go too wrong. But it's just, you learn so much more as well from the things that don't go your way in life. And I think we really need to embrace that so much more in society.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that comment. Hey, like, even in relationships, when relationships aren't going great, like with friends or loved ones or family, and you have that bit of arguments or whatever, I think like you learn so much and you almost get closer to the people because you're like, oh, we got through that. And life's not all rainbows and lollipops, let's be honest. And we're going to have these little challenges, or it's just a bad day in my books that are, but I think you always kind of build off sometimes what's perceived as a negative thing at the time.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. So you were talking before about, the making this documentary. It was sort of, you winging it, learning as on the fly. I've had a bit of experience in that world, in the entertainment world, and making my own things. It's a big thing to put together, and there's so many steps. How's that process been for you guys?
Oh, mate, it's been a journey. It's
nearly been an emotional roller coaster at times.
It's nearly been as traumatic as the skydiving accident.
One follow to another.
We've hated each other, we've loved each other, we've argued with each other. It's been a journey.
There's a lot of emotions attached to it, and there's a lot of confusion. Like you have no idea how it's meant to run, and how you perceived it was gonna go. It might not work, but then it comes back, and you're like, okay, we're back on track. Sorry.
Yeah. There's been a lot of sorries. There's been a lot of accusations, a lot of sorries, a lot of but where we're at now, the end product, and it's been worth it. Like, even though the small amount of people that have seen it, of our close friends, and now the reception it's getting in the film festivals has been great. And the catalyst of it all, I suppose, is this the premiere that's coming up soon, and it'll be so nice to see how it's received there. Nice and scary at the same time, even though it's winning awards and people are saying it's great. It's you're still always worried about what people are going to think, I guess.
Oh, yeah, so nervous.
Well, it's funny with these kind of things. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I know for me, I'll be so much more nervous if it's people, whether it's family or close friend or someone seeing something that I've done. But if it's, if it was millions of other people that I don't know, then it's not, you can disconnect a bit, but it's always those nerves or that uncomfortability when it's people and what are they going to think?
Because I think it's done some rounds at some film festivals, international ones, and I don't even think I thought about them too much, but then obviously next weekend we've got the Byron Bay Film Festival. I work in Byron Bay, I live just up the road from Byron Bay. I'm like, oh gosh.
In the deep end now.
Yeah, it's real now. It's real, and then the official screening at Hoda in December is like, it's going to be hundreds of our close friends and family and peers there. So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Oh, it's exciting, and where officially comes out in December. Where if our listeners want to learn more about it, get behind it, what can they do, and how can they follow the journey?
Yeah, so I guess the best bet is you can jump on our website, which is impactdoco.com, and it has has a whole bunch of information on there about Benny and myself and Paddy, and the documentary has the ticket sales on there. So the official screening, the official premiere to the public is December 14th at Hoda on the Gold Coast, which is the home of the Arts Theatre on the Gold Coast. And then after that, we're not really sure what happens there because we've still got a few film festivals to go. As Benny said, the Byron Bay Film Festival next month, end of this month. We're hoping to get into a few more of the prominent Australian ones. There's a couple coming up. I think we're still in with Melbourne International Film Festival and Sydney as well. So just see how we go with that. And then, there's always the chance it could be picked up or not. Otherwise, we're probably, after all the premieres done, we might do a screening in Sydney, but besides that, we'll probably be released on our website, just for download, next year sometime. But we're still, as we said, we're still winging it and just seeing how it goes and what happens. But impactdoco.com, you jump on there, and then you can jump on our socials as well. Our Instagram's impact.movie. Follow the journey along there.
Great. And we'll have anyone listening, I'll have all of the links in the show notes, so make sure to go and check that out and follow it. It's amazing what you guys are doing. So Lucci, I've got a question for you. We sort of touched on this when we were chatting the other day. You being from a fighting background, sporting background, being the kind of guy that a lot of men would look up to and think, I want to be tough like that. From that side to then seeing, you show that vulnerability, how much of an impact have you seen from that contrast? Because I think we love to categorize people and we don't realize that we're all just the same. We've got the same stuff going on underneath. Have you seen a big impact from that side of it?
Yeah, for sure. Massively. And that is a big thing. I'm big, tattooed, and a fighter, and a lot of men do. A lot of people look at that and think that's what a strong man is. But to me, when I started speaking out and being vulnerable and just telling, from starting off with my wife, my emotions, my real emotions, and I realized that is what real strength is. That's what a real man should be able to do. Is speak out and not only speaking out himself, is also be open and notice with his friends as well, and people around him, being aware of, that people could be struggling, that it is a thing. And one of the big ones was a young friend of mine, Harry Bink. He's one of the world's best freestyle motocross riders. And, me and him been great friends for a long time. And I used to be his personal trainer as well as mentor. And remember one day I mentioned something about depression, and he was like, "What?" He's like, you feel it? Like, you suffer depression? It's real, it's real? Because I live a pretty high life and, all this stuff. And he's like, "What? Hang on. This doesn't make sense to me." And that was a real big thing for me as well. I was like, "Huh? Like, this didn't make sense to you?" It really made me aware that there's so many young men out there that don't think this is a thing, or that it's still, that it isn't, other people, especially big, strong men, don't suffer it. And I'm like, no, man, I definitely suffer it. I definitely feel it. And that was a little, just something that spurred me on to be more open about it as well.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's such a powerful thing, because we all learn through storytelling. And if we, like I was saying before, you just never know who is going to hear a message that needs to hear it. But I know for myself, when I've been struggling with things, if I hear someone that I look up to, or that's, been through similar things to me, talking about their journey, it's this sigh of relief that, I thought I was alone. I thought there was something wrong with me, but hang on, if they're going through it as well, maybe I'm not, that messed up. Maybe I actually can work through it. And it's a super powerful thing to, use your story to help other people.
Yeah, that's so. And that was nearly one of the biggest changes in my life. Was like, I went and seen a counsellor when I was, I think it was about 24, 25, and I was really, it was quite. We went to see a relationship counsellor, because me and my wife, we had our first son at 19 years old, and we were just babies ourselves, and we both come from pretty violent, backgrounds and families growing up. And I went in and we've seen this counsellor as a relationship counsellor, and when I was leaving, the counsellor said to me, he's like, "Oh man, have you ever seen anyone or spoken to anyone? Maybe you should come back and have a chat to me, And I was like, it's me against the world, at this stage. And I hated men because my dad had left me and I had no male figures in my life. And went back and seen this counselor. And it was a guy, and he was like, man, you've had a hard life. It's okay to feel like this. It's, you're doing well. He actually listened to me and is like, you're doing well. Like, this is okay. It's okay to feel like this. And that's the first time in my life someone had told me that, and even someone had actually listened to me. And I was just like, hey, man, I walked out of that room. The world had been lifted off my shoulders. I literally nearly did a 180 degree from that time on. I moved forward. I was like, I'm not going backwards now. I'm not stuck in the mud. I'm moving forwards now, and that was the big change way back then.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for sharing that, mate. And yeah, such an important thing. Ben, interested to ask you, since you've gone and you've been through this challenge, like you were talking about, speaking about what you were going through. How much has your life changed from before to after? How much of a change have you seen?
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot. Particularly how I view myself and view life. I guess because for me, in the depth of my depression, I guess I'd made what felt like a very conscious decision, and it's scary thinking about it. I get goosebumps that I was going to end my life, and it wasn't like a rational thing. Like, I got really angry one day, and I was like, "That's it." Like, I felt like I sat down and I thought about it, and I was like, right, I've lived a really good life for 35 years, and now the life I'm living doesn't suit me, so I'm going to end it on my terms. And somehow I didn't, and I kind of pushed through that. And then once I came out the other side, I was like, wow, like, I'm having all these amazing days. I'm hanging out with my friends. I've become a father since then. And I was like, I would have missed out on all this if I'd ended it. Yeah. So I got this a new appreciation for life. And I hate to use that cliche term there, but that's kind of how I felt. And just that I'm such an analytical person, and I kind of really tried to learn how to live in the moment a lot more, because I personally spend so much time analyzing what I did yesterday and how I should have done it differently, and I'm thinking about tomorrow and how I want to be better in every aspect. How can I be a better father? How can I be a better partner to my wife? And how can I improve myself physically and mentally? And I was like, no, I really got to. And it's one thing my son reminds me of every day, because as you know, kids are just the lords of appreciating that exact moment. Just try and be happy with what I've got, waking up and breathing oxygen every morning, like going down the beach, which is across the road for me. Like, there's a lot of things to appreciate in this exact moment. Hanging out with you and chatting with you and Lucci. So that's been a big change for me, I think.
Oh, it's really beautiful, mate. And thank you for sharing that. And I mean, even for me, hearing you say that, I relate so much to that. And it's, I think as men, especially, we have that mindset that, once you get to a certain age, your life's over. You have to achieve this. You have to do that. You have to do all of these different things to feel worthy, to feel like you're enough, to have permission to be happy. But it just, as you're talking about there, it doesn't work that way. And you could achieve everything in the world, but if you haven't accepted yourself and you haven't found that inner peace, nothing will fill that. You're just using it. It becomes a drug. So until we can get to that point and realize that there is no answer there, it's about just appreciating what's in front of us and trying to enjoy each moment. We're never going to be perfect, and who knows what the future holds, but life certainly doesn't end just at a certain age, or if things don't go how we wanted. It actually evolves. And often, I guess, again, as we talked about at the beginning, when you're reflecting and seeing these ups and downs, it gets to, these amazing, beautiful moments because of all of the ups and downs you went through. So, we need to just talk about that more. It's way too much of society, social media telling us that we have to, achieve all of these different things and compete with, comparing to other people, and it's all bullshit.
Are you interested in joining a community of like-minded people who are on the same journey as you are? Even though you're the one that needs to do the work, you don't have to go it alone. You can find all of the information at nickbrax.start.page.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Everyone's living a perfect life on social media.
Yeah, exactly. We're comparing ourselves to a highlight reel of someone else's life, and it's not accurate.
Yeah. And it's one thing you said there, Nick, is, we're not all perfect. And that's the best thing. Like, I come up with this little saying a while ago. I was like, imperfection is perfection, And I come to this realization. I'm like, I am imperfect, and that is perfect. Like,
Yeah,
so that is imperfection is perfection. So, yeah.
absolutely, 100%, 100%. And yeah, I mean, it's when we're trying to be perfectionistic, whatever you're doing, it's you get overwhelmed. It's debilitating. Even if it's with exercise, I train every day, and talking to people about that, a lot of the time people will try and be all or nothing. Or if you're going from not exercising to trying to do something, it'll be trying to say, okay, I need to do this and commit to it in this way and do everything perfectly. And you get so overwhelmed that you're like, fuck this. I don't have time. I can't be bothered. But if you just make it that, who cares whether it's perfect or not? Let's just front up and do it. Even if it's going for a 5-minute run around the block, build that habit, do something. If you do that for long enough, you see results, and you train your mind to become the kind of person who shows up and who, does what they're saying they're going to do. And it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be good. Just doing something, trying. I think it's just so important that we try and, speak to ourselves in that way rather than telling ourselves we have to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, there's all these influencers. Nothing against them on social media, but a lot of them just have very gifted physiques that they've probably had for a long time.
It's never ending.
Yeah.
So what
the thing for me, if I just wanted to share,
yep.
is, I hate to use this word normalize, but because I love a lot of my friends and I don't think many of them are normal, but I found just having people to say your thoughts or whatever you're going through is something they've experienced was a huge thing for me. Particularly with being a paramedic, we get a lot of exposure to, what would be horrible scenarios, traumatic or serious illnesses and stuff like that. And when I became a father, I was so concerned with my kid. They're so vulnerable, and I was so worried about him for the first 6 months of his life. And I had all these flashbacks to work, and I just chatted to one of the the senior guys at work, and it was like, oh, I'm kind of getting these thoughts a lot every day, and it's a little bit concerning. And he's like, yeah, I've had them. And that's all I needed to hear. Like, I was like, oh, okay, other people get that. And he's cool. So I'm like, all right, it's a normal thing. Embrace it for what it is. It's a fatherly concern, but what can I do? What can't I do? Embrace that feeling, and then we're moving forward. So, and that's
normalize an unnormal feeling.
Yeah.
Hearing someone else had it as well.
Yeah. And that's why I try and create a similar scenario with this, like it was just it's a minor injury in terms of like what a lot of other people had, but I just had these feelings and thoughts, and maybe someone else having that, or maybe they're going to have it in the future, like in a year's time, they'll get this like dark cloud kind of come over them, and they're like, oh my God, I remember Ben said he had this. He's all right now, so it is what it is, and I'll just keep moving forward. So
that's great. Yeah, and it will. Yeah, there'll be people. There's always people that need to hear this stuff. So yeah, thank you again to both of you for being so open with all of this. I know you're helping our listeners, by talking about this and allowing me to have you on my podcast. So what do both of you do day to day or weekly to look after your mental health and well-being? What are some things you guys do that our listeners could maybe, get some tips from?
Yeah, well, for me, I routinely every day is breath work. First, as soon as I wake up, I stretch, breath work, ice bath, and just have that, just be present with myself and, prepare for my mind for the day, what's to come, just have that me time, and just be just be for myself a bit. No phone, no nothing. Just me by myself in the morning. That's something that I do every single day. I have to do every single day, as well as physical training for me. That's the combination that keeps me sane, I suppose, keeps the demons at bay. Just like I said, just take that time to have that time out and just be by myself, which I never used to do. I used to hate to be by myself and be with my own thoughts. But now I really enjoy it. I really enjoy processing my own thoughts, and I feel it's a big part of being in control.
That's a massive one. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, mate. And I think, every time I ask people, it really, for anyone listening, it can be anything, but having, these daily routines, it helps keep you grounded. Exercise for me is the biggest. Just every day, I know that even if the world's crumbling around me, I can control getting myself to, go for a run, go to the gym, do something, get my body moving. And that's medication for me. For it, just like you said, keeps the demons at bay, keeps you grounded. It just makes a world of difference. So I think just finding whatever it is for you, there's no right or wrong, just whatever works for you. So Ben, I'm interested. What about you, mate? What are some things you do?
Pretty similar, mate. I just do obviously my physical training. So just do a little bit of rehab with the knee, as well as just general gym training. Do a bit of yoga. Try and do a couple of sessions of yoga a week, which I really enjoy. I try and work on meditation here and there. It's not a daily thing for me. I'd like it to be, but to be honest, I'm probably not a daily meditator. And then I just still use sport a lot, like just getting out for a surf and stuff like that. And then obviously your social aspects, like, you need that time to hang out with the boys. Me and my partner are very honest with each other. She's like, I need a girls' date. I'm like, no worries. So, she goes and does that thing. And I have my time where I go hang out with my mates and stuff like that. So, I don't have anything that's like super ritual, but just try and maintain through the week.
Yeah, super important to do that, to, make sure we are having time to see our mates and that kind of thing, because often even that can sort of be neglected, and we all need that. So like I said before, thank you guys for coming on here, being so open. We finish every episode with 5 closing questions. So I guess seeing I've got both of you on here, I'll throw them at both of you. You both have a go at answering each one of these. First one is, what's your best childhood memory that comes to mind? So maybe, Ben, you can go first for this one if you like.
Maybe Lucci first. I'll think about it.
Lucci first. Sorry, throwing you in the deep end there. You can have time to have a think.
Yeah, I've got a good one. It's a strange one. It's with my dad. It was shooting a rifle. I remember we were driving, I think, back from a camping trip, because I think I mentioned a bit earlier, like I lost my dad when I was 5. I think 6 years old I just turned, and so I don't have many memories at all. But one of them was we were driving back from a camping trip, and it was snowing, and we pulled off to the side of the road and shot some cams with the rifle. And I just remember him, I remember holding the rifle and him leaning over top of me, and it was just that's probably because in all honesty, a lot of my childhood memories were stolen because of not good scenarios. But that was one that I've kept, and probably one that comes to mind straight away.
Thank you for sharing, mate. And Ben, have we got one from you now?
I'll go with a bit of a funny one, and hopefully I'm not throwing my mum under the bus. I think she'll see the funny side to it. But growing up surfing, and I was starting to get a bit of confidence in the surf, and I think one day was pretty decent size, and I was only young. I just started high school, so around 13, and I paddled out the back, and I was catching a few waves. And being that age, I'd gone to the beach with my mum, and then this surfer came out, and there was a fair few surfers in the water, and he was like, "Hey, Grummy, is that your mum on the beach?" And I turned around, and my mum was doing huge star jumps on the beach, but she didn't look like me out in the surf that far. And all the guys had a bit of a chuckle in the surf, and I had to go in and reassure my mum that I was okay surfing.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that, mate. That's great. Well, next one. What do you guys think is currently the biggest burden on mental health in society?
Yeah, look, the biggest burden on mental health is just I suppose the exposure. It's still like the stigma behind it. I just feel it still is there, that it's not okay for men to cry or to be. It's not okay for men to be down, and I feel like, yeah, I still feel that it's just the words just not getting out there. That it's, we can talk to each other and ask for help. That's yeah, me really. Danny?
I'd have to say probably social pressure on, I guess, like you were touching on before, Nick, like where you should be in life and who you should be, and this whole you should be 1% better every day, and you should be achieving career goals, and I know even personally, like people go, "Oh, you just rent," and I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't buy a house." And they're like, you should own your own home, and you should have 2.5 kids and a dog and picket fence or whatever it is, or traveling the world. But I think happiness is perception, and the best example I use for that is surfing. For me, another surfing example. Sometimes I might come in from Snapper that's just up the road. It's a world-class wave, and it's good. And I mean, I'm not a great surfer, but I might be out the back getting some good waves, and I'm just not surfing as well as I normally do, and my turns aren't feeling great. And sometimes I come in with the shits, and you turn around to get to the beach, and there's someone on a 9-foot foam board catching knee-high, just rubbish waves because they're trying to learn how to stand up, and they're standing up for maybe 5 or 6 seconds, just fist pumping like it's the best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, happiness is perception, really. You don't need to be a world-class surfer to have the funnest in the time, So I think that kind of translates into every aspect of life,
Yeah, great answer. It's all relative, isn't it? It's just, all this stuff of you should do this, should do that. Well, who are any of us to say what someone should do? It's different for everyone, and there's no formula. So, yeah, I love that example you've given there. And you sort of answered the next question. So, Lucci, maybe you can answer this one. What's your personal definition of happiness?
Personally, yeah, just family. I've been content and with who I am personally. Being happy with myself is just being content, and being happy around my family, and I guess not questioning who I am is happiness. When I'm just so content with who I am and satisfied with where I am right now, that's happiness for me. Is not questioning who I am.
Yeah, just being able to be at peace with where we're at right now. It's a big one.
Because I never used to be like that. Always just never satisfied with anything or content with anything. And like I remember that the first time I ever base jumped, it was it's the wildest, gnarliest sport in the world. And when you first do a base jump, you do a PCA. Someone holds your pilot chute, so the canopy, the free fall is very short. And as soon as my canopy opened, I was just like, that was good, but now I need the free fall, I was just like, wow, why am I not like, just not content with anything, like, but I've learned that, and I've learned that's where happiness comes from, just being content to be like right in the moment now. And yeah.
That's a great example. Yeah. And I don't know, my God, that terrifies. I could never do that, base jumping. It's terrifying. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, please click the subscribe button, leave a like or comment, share with your friends, and follow me on Instagram at NickBrax. I really appreciate your ongoing support.
Yeah.
If you guys could give one piece of advice to your 18-year-old selves, what would that be?
Benny?
Yeah, probably a lot of the theme of this is just embrace this moment. Yep. Like I was saying before, I'm just such an analytical person. I'm just always analysing what I've done and what I'm gonna do, and I'm like to the point where it's just it steals this moment. You
Yeah.
know, one of my favorite sayings is, "Don't let the regrets of yesterday or the worries of tomorrow steal this moment, because
Mm.
you won't get it back. That's all we have is this moment." So,
Love it.
just embrace a lot of that. And I think me and Lucci are very similar. We've kind of connected on that level of just that, never just being happy for that exact moment, because you're so busy thinking about it's going to get better.
Yeah.
And base jump is a great example, and it's one I've got pulled up on before by a good friend of mine, Chris Dukes. And I was wingsuit base jumping, and I was flying a suit that I just wasn't getting along with super well. But I was still base jumping in the Italian Dolomites, like doing huge flights. And I just didn't feel super comfortable in the suit, which is a weird feeling in base jumping because you want to feel comfortable. But I was landing, and I had the shits. And Dukes was like, "You're doing something that like a couple of thousand people in the world even experience. And you're in the Italian Dolomites, the sun's shining. It's like a beautiful day. It's like, just be happy. You're so worried about, that you want to fly better and you want to be better at this. It's
Yeah.
like, go to bed every night your own world champion." I was like, "Oh, that's pretty good saying."
Not bad advice.
Yeah.
I'll take that on board myself.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, man. For me, it's just don't be scared to try anything and everything. Like we miss out on so much in life, from tasting something because you don't think you're going to like it, eating a food because you don't think you're going to like it, to way back if we're talking about my 18-year-old self asking a girl out, you felt embarrassed. It's like, imagine if we just had no embarrassment or no restrictions holding us back. You're just like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try this. Like that's what I kind of try to tell to my kids. I'm like, just try everything. Like, you don't know whether you're not going to like it unless you try it. Just experience everything, because life is so short. It's like that. It's gone. There's one thing that this accident. Like I live like wild, like do more stuff in usually a week than people do in a lifetime, just about sometimes, But this accident made me realize that I still wasn't living life enough. I wasn't doing things. I wasn't taking it in. I wasn't soaking stuff in. I need to do more, and I need to follow more passions. I need to follow things that are really important to me. And, one of those things is like, charity business that I've started, just all that stuff, following your passions and helping out, giving back. And yeah, it just, life is so short. Just experience everything it has to offer, because it's beautiful. And as we said before, it can seem really dark and down sometimes. And for those dark times make, the brighter times even better. And if you don't have the dark times, you don't have the bright times. And
That's it.
and I've had it before. Sometimes I'm like, man, why am I at rock bottom? Like, obviously I needed more character. I needed to be built up more, and I needed to learn to enjoy life again. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah, no, super inspiring what you're saying there. And I think that's the best advice, just go and try everything, because we don't know. And if you do that pretty quickly, you'll probably find what you do like and what you're good at, and things will unfold. So we don't need to have the answers. Just go and do stuff. Just, stop worrying about it, or just do it and let life unfold instead of forcing it have to be something. Just go and do things, let it be what it is.
Yeah, 100%.
So final one here. What are you guys most proud of?
That's a tough question.
I don't know who wants to go first. There you go. Yeah, being a dad's pretty can't top that, really.
Oh yeah, and it's almost you have so much fun doing the absolute lamest stuff you could think of. It's such a strange thing becoming a dad, because I'm a shift worker, so we work have a few days off at a time, and quite often mates will be like, "Oh, what did you do on your 5 days off this week?" And I'm like, "I had the best time ever." And they're like, "Cool, what did you get up to?" Thinking I'm going to say something pretty cool. And then, I kind of replay in my mind what I did. And I'm like, "Oh, that's right, I built sandcastles. And then I went to the swings. And then I came home and ripped the mattress off the bed, dragged it to the lounge room, and propped it up on the couch to make a wave. And me and my son surfed down it. I can't say any of that stuff because it's not cool.
Oh, mate.
To me, I like had the best days ever.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
That's great.
It's pretty wild, mate. I'll tell you later.
Yeah, and like for me too, like, you know, I'm going to answer doubly with this because, you know, I'm obviously proud of my family as well. You know, I've just become a granddad as well, but I'm so proud now of myself, of just being who I really am. I've discovered who I really am, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not anymore, which is because I think I might have been doing that for a long time in my life. And I know who I am, like inside and out, and I'm actually proud of that. So I'm proud of myself, which is.
That's great. Yeah, that's, you know, you can't sort of, you know, do more than that. Just to be proud of yourself, to be, you know, happy with who you are, where you're at, not hiding anything. That's all any of us can ask for, really. So love that. So yeah.
45 years, I think. Well, sorry, mate. Yeah, I was just about to say 45 years of life here, and I think I've only just, you know, it's only recently, you know, discovered that. So, you know, I feel if you ask a lot of people whether they love themselves and are proud of themselves, a lot of people won't say they are, you know. So, something that we all should be is proud of ourselves.
Yep, exactly. And we can all work towards, you know, because it, like you're saying, you know, it took you a bit of time to get there. It takes all of us, you know, we're all on different paths, and we need to just, you know, meet ourselves where we're at and try and work out how do we get to that place, how do we move forward. So yeah, I think it's really great what both of you are doing, and really grateful to connect with both of you. I'd love to stay in touch, and, you know, thank you for making the time to come on here. And anyone listening, make sure to go to the links and check everything out, support the documentary. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Oh man, thank you. I appreciate
thanks, Nick.
it. It was a really good conversation, and thanks, Benny. Thanks for running into me, Benny, because this has been awesome. We're helping people out.
Thanks for running into me.
That situation is going to be an amazing situation. What did I say? I was in the right place at the wrong time. And he's in the right place at the wrong time, or the wrong place at the right time too. And it's all for the good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Awesome, mate. Love you, Benny. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Mark Lucari and Ben Lucock, for joining me today and offering your insights. And thank you for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode and any suggestions for topics you'd like to hear about. Feel free to leave a comment or just send a DM. Your feedback is always appreciated. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button, leave a like or comment, share with your friends, and follow me on Instagram. It really makes a difference. Thank you so much.